on every single map in the current rotation. This is mainly focused towards newer players and players who are just trying to get into Jett and trying to figure out what they should be doing. So if you do want like a Jett guide, this is mainly an entry guide, as you can see, and where to play on defense and how you should play on attack, and how you should entry. But if you do want like a Jett guide, you can just comment that down below, and then I'll just start working on it after this video is over. So for Jett on A, your main goal and main entry point is in this area where you plant bomb. So the reason that is because when you dash over here, let's use this for example. If you dash over here, you're exposed to a lot of angles. Once the smoke goes down, you're exposed to a lot of angles. So you're going to be forced to pretty much use your second smoke to try and isolate an angle that you're trying to take. So by dashing over here, looking left, I've messed up the dash anyway. You're a lot less exposed to a bunch of different angles. It's easier to isolate this fight, and then you can easily rotate to isolate these fights. Once you're done with that, there's either two directions you go up top with your initiator util. So there's usually a silver dart. There's a silver dart LM back sight somewhere, hopefully, and you use that to take fights over here, or you just do it off of audio. Now if you want to go through this area, I would recommend having your teammate. So your second entry, having your teammate, calling a teammate, and then taking this fight. I wouldn't recommend taking this fight by yourself because it's actually very hard and the person is pretty much very ready to fight you. So take this space with your teammate and you should be done. Now another thing you can do is, if you're kind of ballsy, is you can updraft and dash into tower into the smoke and take this tower space. When doing this, I would recommend smoking this to isolate this fight over here, trying to cross over either this way and then taking the fight here, or you could just, you know, chill right here, or just somewhere inside of tower and let them walk into you. Now for B, there is a couple different points that you can entry from. There's on top of the box, so you can do this dash. You can get on top of the box. I messed it up a little bit, but I'm just not even really trying to do it. You can get on top of the box, have your smoke right here, and then you can boom. If you feel uncomfortable updrafting up here, and since it's going to be smoke right there, for example, the guys in library can see you. So if you want, you can ask your teammate to like smoke on top of the library. So it's a lot safer for you to isolate angles, and you aren't trying to get shot by the library guys. But that's the only times when you should ask for a smoke right here, or they're just going to make it happen. It's just a bad smoke objectively. Another point you can entry from is from the left side. You can dash over here into the box, and then you can isolate these fights backside, and then have your second or like your flash initiator try and take this space. And then once you do that, you take the spin over here, you wrap around, make sure you clear up top over here, and then you start isolating these fights library. On Abyss, the reason Jett is picked a lot on Abyss is because of the op angles and the opportunities to op on this map. So you can sit in this position and op. You can sit in this position and op for the walk up, or down here. Since you have a dash, you can play very aggressive up on main. You don't have to op here, but you can push up, dash away, boom, ask for a smoke, have your teammate. On these lines, like I would recommend, if you know they're hitting mid, so they've hit mid a couple times, you buy an op. Holding that line is good. Now I wouldn't push up any farther than that. When you're using an op on Jett, you kind of want to like swap sites a lot. You want to make sure you're very unpredictable. So I would recommend, if you buy an op, to at least take this fight over here. You hear him, you pop your dash, you get away. You can also get on top of here. Make sure you're on the edge when on their walkout. Maybe have the guy one way, and then when they walk out, boom, free out. Now that you have an op, they'll probably rotate, so I would recommend you to rotate towards B or hold a line mid. And that is about it. That's the main thing for Jett on Abyss. So let's move on to Ascent, on how to entry on Ascent. So when you're entering on Ascent, you want to Jett dash to switch. I messed up the smoke on the back. Put down the smoke, or put down the door. And when you're entering, you want to look either left or right. I personally prefer looking left because there's a lot of guys who like to hide right here and to swing off timings. So that'll kind of clear up for your enemies or for your teammates to clear. Now, after that, this should be smoked. You're going to have to wrap around here and clear this guy. I would recommend. Yep, boom, and clearing this. Once you're clearing this, you want to time it with your teammates going lane to clear the site, clear here, and then time with your teammates to clear site. Now, another way to entry onto B is the little updraft. Now, a second way to entry is, you know, you smoke up here. Boom, there you go. Nah, not bad. And then you jump updraft over that. It's weird if you're not used to it. I typically don't play Jett anymore, so I'm a little rusty. But it is a way to entry if you want to surprise the guy who's Odining right there. So for here, for Ascent A, there's a couple places you can go. You can go top gen, you can just go over there, or you can go to the left side. For top gen, you can walk from simple. You kind of want to be towards the front of A main to make it a little easier on yourself. Typically it's going to be smoked off so you have enough time. Or you can smoke the right side right here, isolate one of these fights. Of course, again, you want to look one of the directions where you're trying to go. So firstly I would say left, and then try and isolate your fights like that, and then you path up and clear back site. On top gen, when you're up top gen, you're out of the smoke, you look dice and then you clear here. Then what else you can do is, if you don't use your updraft, you can updraft right here and you can sit on this line right here. You can't be seen from top side, and then you can peek off noise as well. Now for defending, offing is very good again. You can contest A main. You have a dash. Make sure to, you know, you pop your dash when you hear the enemy so you don't waste it. You hold that line. Of course, you can hold here, like a typical thing. You can hold top mid if they consistently are ready to split, and you can also hold piles as well. I do see a lot of plays. If you want to make a mid play, for example, you can updraft on top. So I don't know if I can do this. No, I don't do this anymore. There we go. You can updraft up here. You ask for a flash from like a KO flash or Sky flash or a Omen flash somewhere. You fight here, and you can updraft on top and fight this area. You can also do the same thing on A main on defense. So you ask for like an Omen blind from tree, getting a lobby. Wow, talent is here. You land on top of the bot, and you can fight the guys who are blinded. And then for B main, of course, you again can just get an op, old man, simple. Okay, so for bind. Bind isn't one of those maps where Jett is super played on in like VCT and stuff, strictly because of how the chokes are built and just the sites in general. But it is still playable because it's ranked, and ranked does not matter, and characters don't matter in ranked. So when you're entering, you can entry into here and isolate this fight very easily. Or you can go into mid site. Boom here. Don't mess up the dash, please. And then you can fight these guys over here. Now for entering on B. Now, typically I would say that entering in the middle of the site is a bit bad. But because of how your smoke is like, since it's just a big blob in the middle of site, it's very scary. So you can just jet dash in the middle of here. I would recommend probably smoking again to, you know, help yourself get out. So you entry in the middle of the site, boom. And then you can get into two and isolate these fights. Either one of these fights right here and get into backside. either that, or you can try and just jet dash into one of these little right here, little things, little corners, to isolate this corner fight right here and fight backside. If you do want to go long, going long is perfectly fine. Jet dash from here, like that, or no, you get on top of this block. If you want to op, the best lines possible
Here
is long on top of this truck right here, and then back, and then back. Now, but I will say, whenever you're playing Jett on bind, you want to definitely contest one of the areas. So for example, you want to contest Luca, or at least hold this line. You hear him walking up, you pop your dash, boom, dash away, get off sight. If they're long and it's not smoke, boom, and run away into sight and play with your teammate. Now we're on Haven. We're starting on C. There's a couple places you can go when entering. So you can go near plat, right here, here, right, you know, and take one of those fights. Or you can go to top plat, of course. Take these fights backside. Or you can dash towards default and take this fight here. Isolate the fights. You can also go on to top of this, I'm pretty sure. And then take the sights backside. The only reason I don't like going up here is because you're exposed to quite literally the entire site. And your teammates aren't really going to be fast enough to be able to trade anybody backside. So I would just recommend either the plat or this default, but I would recommend plat because it's just easier, much safer, and it's much easier to isolate fights. Now for B, let's go to B. There's a couple spots. Very simple. You either go up top of the bus of whatever this is called. You know, you can updraft up here. No. Bang, bang, like that. Or you can just walk in. I would recommend smoking off one of the areas and then clearing. Like that. If you do not want to dash in on top. Because it's just not worth using your dash like that. It's just to dash into one of the little corners. You can just deady peek it. For A, it's a couple spots. Over here, go backside. And then if you're entering from over here, you go left side. Very simple. Of course, again, I'm not showing it, but you're supposed to be looking. I'm being dumb and not doing it because I'm kind of just focused on going just the destination you're going. And then you play with it. That's it for Haven entering. Now for opping, you have a couple plays. For example, holding A long. Now for Haven, you want to take space, so you hold A long and have your teammate walk up like that, or you hold like this. You know, you peek out and up right there. Then after that, say for example, you peek A. Let's say you're peeking A main. You dash. Don't dash like that. Dash left, and then you updraft. And you can peek right there. Very simple little situation. Now for B, you can of course updraft on top of this little box right here. Hold this left side, or you can updraft up here and hold one down. I wouldn't op in garage. Now if you go C, you can of course go up on the top right here, on top of that box, and op from right over here, and then you can kind of play whatever position. Very simple, very easy, very easy. On Jett, you want to contest one of the areas though. You want to contest one of the lines on the map wherever you're playing. Because you do have a Jett dash, you do have cover, you do have a way to get out, a free getaway jail free card. So walking down mid, getting away, and then peeking short if you hear some commotion, get away. Peeking long, you can come here or in cross, Or you can just smoke the orb, grab orb, get your orb. Bam. Bam, 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 bam. On to Pearl. Let's go. So, as you go on to Pearl, smoke this cross. Don't make it bad. Boom. Unless you have an Asher, then your Asher doesn't. But if you're not, you smoke off the cross into walk in. Clear right here. Bam, bam, bam. Clear right here. Bam, bam, bam. And then once you're here, you dash towards left side. Then you isolate these fights over here. That's if you dash in, of course. But dashing over to this left side and getting over here is good. You can also jet dash up top through here, especially if it's smoked outwards. So you get into the smoke. This smoke's gonna be right here, and get into their heaven. Other than that, I wouldn't recommend dashing into the middle of site like this. It's kind of stupid. But once you dash in, if you dash in on site, you know, like this, you want to go 4 hole, clear out hall. That's about it. And then when you jet dash, you can jet dash into B. Isolate these fights right there. Make sure to look to the right so you can easily fight. Boom, boom. This is pretty much the only spot you can like jet dash into, though, honestly. There's not a lot of other places you can smoke. And then once you're jet dashed into mid site, you can try and clear back site. Either that, or you go into try and clear on. Now for defense, I would recommend pushing up into A main. You dash away, smoke yourself, and then you get out. Or, you know, you of course hold this line, you walk up. Not be bad at the game, but you hold this line, you walk up, and get out. You up on B. You can sit on top of this box. Or if they cross out, they walk down. Right there. Or you can op over right on top of this. Make sure your feet are towards the edge of this little thing right here. And then you drop down. And then you can either do that, or you can then dash away. Or you can go forward like here, right here. Hold the op. Right here. Then you get out. Go for split B! You want to jet dash into this corner. Jet dashing into this corner. Boom, right here. You can isolate this fight over right here much easier than you could not. Of course, you can have this smoke right here. Take here, and then you can fight, of course. But this corner helps you isolate the fight much easier. And you're not exposed to as many angles. And then you can, of course, clear backside right here. Once you're done doing that, you of course take the rest of the site. And bam, if you want to updraft on top, boom. You can hold this angle. If it's smoked off, you can get in this little corner. Hold this little angle, but that's for defense. Now for A, there's a couple things you do. If you want to take heaven, and then you have your sky flash out, boom, right there. Wow, for free. That, go here, not like that. But you can go on top of the window. The smoke should be outward, so you getting in the smoke should be easy. Good dash. Boom, into the smoke, take, and then you can take heaven control with your teammates who are taking heaven. Now if you want to jet dash onto site, I would say going over this way. Clear that. Isolate this fight, and then you take site. Simple A. Now for defense. Hopping is a bit weird on this map, but it can work. It can work. So typically, you want to contest big man. Cool. I would recommend just jiggling. Cool. And then you can get away. I wouldn't hold it unless you hear people. So if you do hear people, and then you get away. You shouldn't hold it though. Now for B, if you do want to do some kind of mid execute, you can definitely get up here. You have this smoke maybe, and then you clear the site. And if you can get into this corner on A, This is really, really good. And then you can, of course, peek from bottom right here, and then fight that. Okay, for Sunset B, you're mainly want to entry towards this way. Not like that though. Don't be bad. You know, you entry like that. Good. While looking this way, you fight, and then you want to take backside. Mainly, even after the dash, you kind of want to just focus on getting backside, unless you do see somebody. So, boom. Okay. You fight backside. Other than that, there's like actually no other entry. Dashing into this corner is stupid because once the smoke goes down, it's almost impossible to do anything else unless you smoke yourself out and what's called. And it also stops you from taking space on site. So just dash backside. Now for A, there's not a lot you can do for A, honestly. For A, you can dash on top of the box for free. But other than that, there's not much you can do. Honest to God. But you can, you know, get on top of this box in the smoke. And then you can kind of like, you know, shimmy your way over here. Defense. You really want to take advantage of fighting for B-man. Or A-man. I'm firing this. You can definitely walk out and safely get back in. And it's the same for B-man. Other than that, there's really just not a lot of variance to Jett. Like, she's such a linear character. She's solved and proved. But this is for new players who just haven't played or don't play Jett and don't really want to watch a bunch of VOD reviews on how Jetts play. So it's just for entries and just what you should try and do when playing this character. So yeah, anyway.